New England, there's 15 personnel groups. So you have to like remember where you change on everything.
Yep.
And then the formations and then all the concepts. And so for guys like us, undrafted 7th round, like you couldn't afford to fuck up a rep.
That's right.
Like, or you thought you were getting cut.
Yeah.
And there were so little reps for us that like it was a Super Bowl anytime you got a rep in practice when the big dogs were watching.
That's right.
And
I remember being in there like late OTAs, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, Bill puts me in with the first team offense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, Moss,
Yeah.
Ben Watson, Welker, like all these guys. And I'm like, don't fuck this up.
Yeah.
And I remember we ran like a shake route, and I hit Ben Watson up the seam, and I was like, all right. And you almost forget, like, you got to go to the next play. But you were like, that was kind of a welcome to the NFL moment. Here I am undrafted, working my way up, and out of nowhere, wasn't planned.
Yeah.
You're in there with the big dogs.
Yeah. I know it's 1,000. And well, people forget, you know who the quarterback Hoy beat out to be the backup? Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
Head coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
KOC. He's doing a tremendous job.
How about him?
He's done an amazing job. I don't know how much, I mean, clearly with Fox, you're probably staying up on this, but just seeing the behind the scenes interaction he has with his team.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of coach you want to play for.
He was always like that. He was always, I remember, because we used to hang out, me, him, Slate, Wendy.
Yeah.
You would come in there, but it was still a little weird with the backup. You guys, you know what I mean? So I had different groups, and he was always really great at like the camaraderie of the group.
Which is so important.
And the mental toughness. I don't know how it was in your guys' room, but like he knew he wasn't better than you. I remember, I don't know if he thought, I saw it, but I don't think there was any like animosity between you guys. And that takes a lot. And that's shown in his coaching that, that mental toughness to do what's best for the team.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy that he just got rid of Sam Darnold, who had 14 wins.
I know. And that's a lot tough in
that's
JJ
mental
McCarthy.
toughness.
That is mental toughness.
That's mental toughness, believing what's best for the team. That's right. What he thinks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it was Kevin was great, and thankfully we still have a good relationship and talk from time to time. But quarterback room's unique. Only one guy gets to play. You know what I mean? I think it's probably the one room where things can be really tight and really good, or there's times where it can be a little friction. You know what I mean? And you try to just handle it the best way you can. I'm a non-confrontational person by heart. So I always want to make sure I get along with the people in the room and do the best you can to do that.
No, I always explain to people what I think the role of the backup quarterback is. And I always bring it to you.
Yep. Like
when Hoyer was a backup quarterback for Tom, like it's not just, okay, you got to be ready to play. It's like a shoulder for Tom to lean on, a guy that he can talk to with his problems. Like it's a whole different dynamic. It's like you have to put so many different caps on as a backup quarterback. He's got to get the scout team going. He's got to make sure that the coaches are giving the quarterback. Like there's so many communication levels. Can you explain that dynamic of a backup quarterback?
I mean, I look at my time backing Tom up in two separate eras, really, because the first 3 to 4 years I was just learning. I mean, I look back now, Jules, and you mentioned beating out Kevin O'Connell. Like that was the year after Tom come back from this huge ACL injury. There was no way I was ready to play.
Yeah.
I mean, I look back at like how little I knew, where I was fundamentally. My fundamentals weren't very good. And, just by good performance, I ended up being the backup. But those first 3 to 4 years, I didn't really do much for Tom. I mean, I was just learning, just soaking it all in. And, it was more like just be ready to play and don't get in his way.
Yeah.
But then, I go off, I play a lot of football, different teams, learn about myself as a player, get better, and then came back in 2017. And I felt like I actually could provide some assistance to him. Like, hey, when I was playing in San Francisco, we ran this play. Or, I really learned about zone coverage from Kyle Shanahan. Like, this is how that Seattle 3 is trying to play. And we had a different relationship at that point, which was great. But you're right. Like at that point, he was a little bit older. Remember, I was practicing almost every Wednesday, sometimes Thursdays, which was great for me because I got the reps. And that made me really believe that I'd be ready to play if I had to. But it was a different role then. It was less like mentor learning. It was more like I'm here with him and I'm helping with ideas. He's coming over the sideline. What'd you see on that play? I didn't really get asked that a lot, first 3 years of my career from him.
It reminds me a lot. Like with that situation, it's like a head coach that gets fired, that becomes DC OC on a team.
Yep.
It's so great for that head coach that hires him to be able to bounce ideas off each other because he has experience of running the ship. He knows through his experience of different situations, which you had that experience as a starting quarterback, that you could say, hey, Tom, when we played him like this, that's just such a huge help for a quarterback. Information is gold. And that's what you were when I saw you as a backup. You had great information. Whenever there was like those Wednesday, Thursday practices that Tom, if he didn't want to, if he, he was getting that whatever, like the offense still clicked. We could still get work done. It wasn't like it was we couldn't get the play call. No. We couldn't get the right throw.
And early on, I don't know if you remember this, but there was an instant, probably like first, second year, Moss was still there. So it had to be first season. And it was late in November, early December. It was cold as shit. The wind was howling. We were in a stadium practice and Tom had to take the day off.
That was the playoff game?
So this is the first, I know what you're talking about. That's when he fucked his thumb up.
Yeah.
But this is like our rookie year. And Tom had to take the day off. He was nursing the injury, whatever it was. And I went out there. I probably completed 50% of the passes. And we pull up the team meeting after practice, and Bill's like, "Where's Hoyer?" And I'm kind of lingering in the back. I walk forward. He's like, "How do you expect our team to have a good practice when you come out here and completely suck it off?" And I was like, oh shit. But it was literally like one of those practices where you went to throw a go ball and the wind just carried it out of bounds.
Yeah.
And it was not my finest moment, but that was probably one of the first times I ever had to step in for Tom. To your point, you go back, and now I come back in 2017. That was what I had been accustomed to. I've been a starter in 3 different places, so I knew what it was like to go out and have a good practice and make sure the team kept running, which, it was great work for me. It was great for Tom to get the rest he needed, the recovery. And to your point, I never wanted practice to take a step down.
Yeah, you can't. Was it the most Bill ever gave you something? Was that like the biggest one?
I mean, there was a few in those low light meetings. There was the one, remember Tom broke his middle finger messing around with Isaiah Stanback before the Miami game our rookie year.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way this dude's playing, like broken middle finger. But there was Alex working on it, and he ended up playing. We lost down in Miami. He threw for like 350 yards. And so the next day I was doing
Miami.
I know. I was doing an event at Reebok, like a charity event. And some reporter was there. It was like, hey, we saw Tom's was on the injury report. Like, did you think you were going to have to play? And I basically said, like, look, like Tom's as tough as they come. I knew he was going to be ready to go, blah, blah, blah. The next day in meetings, Bill's like, why don't you just let Tom speak for himself and you just worry about yourself? Like, you don't need to, are you in his body? Do you know how his finger felt? And so, I mean, you learn real quick.
I mean, Hoyer, if anyone would be in Tom's body,
no,
it would be
I don't
Hoyer.
know.
It would be Hoyer.
I don't know. Look, I didn't follow him out to California.
That's called a business decision.
Hey,
I already said.
Look, there's not two people more who followed Tom around more than you and I. And like I said, I think it was a wise that we played
1,000%.
forever. I learned so much and was able to implement it when I played, which is why I played as long as I did. You became, his go-to receiver, the guy he trusted, Super Bowl MVP. So those were wise business decisions. Yeah. People can hate on us all they want. But I think the resumes speak for themselves. And to your point, when you're an aspiring athlete, you find someone who's doing it the right way. And luckily for us, it wasn't just Tom. We had guys like Matt Light, who I know you had in here, Kevin Falk, Brewski. Yeah. I mean, so many guys that we could watch as young players and say, that's the right way to do it.
1,000%. And what's it like watching film with Tom? What did you take from watching film in the quarterback room with Tom Brady that you took on when you became a starter, or that you used when you were a backup, or anything? How was film session with Tom Brady?
It's amazing how he sees film. You know what I mean? And as a young player, you come in and I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch this film. I'm going to watch like the offensive plays. Like, no, he's watching for techniques of corners. He's like, all right, the star's inside. That's giving me the read that it's going to be cover 2. Now he's outside. It's going to probably be cover 3. I mean, the depth of which he would watch film and the things that he would find, like I said, to me, that first time I backed him up was learning mode. And so then when I went out and had an opportunity to be a starter of my own, it gave me a good foundation of how I wanted my routine to be. Okay, I know early in the week, he's just going to watch a bunch of games. And then when it gets to Wednesday, he's getting the cut-ups of early downs. And then Wednesday night, it's third down. You're breaking it down. It's a lot to take in. And then the other thing too, I remember as a rookie, I forget who we were playing. I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch this game. He's like, don't waste your time with that. Their offense is absolutely different from ours. Like the way that the Ravens played them is going to be totally different. You got to find teams that run a similar system to us or similar play calls.
What does Scarnecchio say?
Do business as business is being done.
Fellas, it's the same cars, just different license plates.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. But it's funny, like, for me, growing up in our system, in our offense, and then the first time I went out, I played for Kyle Shanahan, completely different.
Completely Explain different. The differences between the Charlie Weiss system that evolved to the McDaniels, Billy O, whatever you want to call it, and the West Coast system that came from Bill Walsh and his running stance, Shanahan and all that shit.
We could turn this into a 4-hour show if we wanted to. But honestly, the one thing that was unique about my career was I played in the 3 family trees. There's the Earhart-Perkins system. There's the West Coast, the Bill Walsh. And then there's the North Turner, kind of the Air Coryell system. And I got a taste of them all. But the thing about the Patriot system, it really put the onus on the players. Right? They taught you how to react. They taught you how to think for yourselves. And you went out there and we had alerts, we had audibles, we had change the protection, changing routes, all of these things. Whereas the West Coast is really, you talk about, they're the same, what is it, same license plates, they're just changing the number. Like, it's a lot of the same plays, but they dress them up a lot of different ways.
Motions,
shifts,
personnel groups.
Yeah, try to make the defense communicate late, but really run the same plays.
You played for Parcells. Mm-hmm. You played with Carroll. Mm-hmm. You played with Belichick. Mm-hmm. How did that go?
Yeah, it's interesting.
What did that feel like?
It's interesting because like of those three, and like, you know, they're all going to be Hall of Fame coaches, right? Like, you know, so
it's crazy. They're all Hall of Fame coaches.
I mean, Pete's got to go in the Hall, doesn't he? I mean, at least, you know, because when you combine the pros and the college deal, you know,
he's had a lot of success for a long time.
He's had a lot of success.
No,
but anyway, like but 3, like, you know, historically great coaches, you know, whether Pete gets in or not, I hope he does. Pete's the one that I feel bad for in that equation.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously a hell of a coach. He followed Parcells in Boston. Parcells just ran the media, dude. Like, he loved being in front of the camera and loved berating these guys. And then Pete comes in and he's super competitive. I think he's a hell of a football coach, but he's positive.
Yeah.
And that just didn't play very well in the Boston media. And then we drafted super poorly, man. We got a whole bunch of picks when Parcells left, and then when Curtis Martin left, we had a whole bunch of picks, and we just didn't draft very well, and guys didn't work out. And so Pete ends up getting fired. Now, it worked out, you know, obviously it turns into Bill.
Yeah.
But just, you know, just loved Pete. Great football coach. But all 3 of them, it's all the same shit, right? You know, so like the great coaches, it's all the same.
I don't know
fundamentals.
I only played with one coach.
Oh shit! You only did. You got yourself.
I know, it's
spoiled,
weird.
I had 8 coordinators in 14 years.
Jeez. I had 2.
Wow. Yeah, Jesus, you're so spoiled.
I had Billy O and fucking and McDee's.
He was there last night.
Billy O was there last night.
Yeah,
he was fucking awesome.
Dude, I saw Billy O last night. I've only been around him like 2 or 3 times. Friggin' love him.
Billy O was talking about my boy Jack.
Bro, and the craziest thing was, I saw him in line for the bathroom, and I was too scared to say anything. I don't think he saw me, but like when I came over this morning and you told me that, oh my God, I almost had a cow. I love Billy O.
He was like, where's Jack? I'm like, I didn't know he was talking about you. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about?
No,
we're going to go BC.
Billy was a sweetheart.
We got to go. I'm a BC fan now, baby.
BC.
Let's go, Billy O.
So, yeah, again, you know, I'd only known Billy O from just like watching, you know, from afar. And then we were out there for something, and he came back, got to hang out. Dude, he's funny as hell.
Funny.
Yeah, dude, he likes to have a good time. But those 3 coaches, you know, the fundamentals of what allows each of them to be successful are the same things. They preach the same things. You compete, you do what you're supposed to do, you're on time, you just, you know, like everything. You know, it's all the same. It's just presented so differently. You know, Parcells is all Jersey. Yeah, he was funny as hell if he wasn't talking to you. You know what I mean? Like he had some good material, but you just didn't want him talking to you. Pete was positive. He was great to be around. He was fun. Like it was a fun atmosphere, even though it was very competitive. And then Bill's Bill, you know, and where it's so friggin' businesslike. Obviously, you know, works.
Yeah.
But it's not fun in games. No, I mean, it's all business all the time, you know, where, where with Pete, like you could come in and like tell a joke or two with him, you know, chit chat a little bit, talk to family or whatever, all this kind of stuff. Where that doesn't fly with Belichick.
Yeah.
At least in my experience.
Unless you're a defensive player.
Oh well, there you go, right there. Yeah, then you
He loved the defense.
You're Tom Brady, a goddamn of Canada football. Like, so like it's a little different. Where if you're the Flutes in Canada.
Now, do you think that play style, a little bit more of like kind of like the Flutie magic, the running around, making plays, just use your soul instead of using your brain, worked really well for you in Canada?
What worked in Canada, and yes, you could get the CFL game. You could get away with being an athlete. I'd say I was thinking about this. If Jules had gone to the CFL as a quarterback, he would have stayed a quarterback. It just would have been on.
BC Lions, still got a contract to this day.
Yeah, they draft.
Well, so they
got your rights.
They took my rights.
Yeah, I bet he would have gone up as a quarterback because you could, as a quarterback in that league, get away with being an athlete and taking off and scrambling and be competitive. The difference was because the field was wider. It was wider. There was more space. It was like a joke. If you wanted to scramble, it was a joke. It's like, okay, it's on. I remember the first preseason game, we had slants or something, and I held it, and I moved to the right, went outside, and kind of turned the corner. I'm like, holy mackerel, I got 12 more yards. You kind of have a muscle memory on what it took to turn the corner and stay in bounds. And I got all kinds of space out there. So that part of it lent to my abilities, but also I was still a pocket passer. Mm-hmm. I still did the mental part of the game and could pick things apart and all that. And then when things broke down, take off.
Well, and we'll get into the game, but we were watching this game, and Flutes is 5'9".
And 3/4.
Huh?
And 3/4.
In 3/4.
Not anymore though. I got to be. I'm under 5'9" now.
Honestly,
I haven't measured.
Everyone always says that, and I always like when people call me shorter because it's more impressive.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It becomes a thing. Yes, no doubt.
I'm 5'8". Okay. But regardless,
But
you watch that
Pretorius,
game,
Dustin Pretorius 5'2" by now. Yeah.
Laser show. Shout out, Petey.
PD, love you, PD.
But you watch this game, and when you have a shorter quarterback, I was a shorter quarterback, the in-breaking route, like passing in the intermediate, it was the hardest thing. But if you watch this, I mean, I think you started, 13 for 13 or 12 for 12.
The Miami game.
And all the plays, you're stepping up in the pocket, and you're hitting guys on 20-yard in cuts. You're hitting, you had that vision, which was, you were a pocket passer.
I had Tom Coughlin as an offensive coordinator at Boston College for my first 3 years. He built my discipline, taught me to read coverage. And so I did make blind throws, but I knew where the defenders were.
Yeah.
Right? I find the defender, you find that little window, and then boom, in the gap, timing-wise, here he comes, bang. That was, and you brought up in routes, and early in the game, we hit a couple with Gerard coming in on third downs. And they played a 3-deep zone, but the corner locked on with Gerard and chased his ass all the way in. And after our first third down conversion, I go to Gerard. I'm like, was that the corner on your ass? And he goes, yeah, he chased me. I go, that was zone coverage. And I go, hey, next time we call that, put your foot in the ground, run a corner route.
And it was a Pocono. I saw that.
Yeah. Later in the game, 2 huge third downs in the fourth quarter, I think. Gerard put his foot in the ground, ran the corner route.
Good route.
Oh my God. It's just like he started in, the guy was chasing, boom, took off, and we crushed. And it's amazing to me to think that I was so relaxed at that time that I saw it, that you see, it's 3-deep zone. You're thinking, I got the post in combination, I'm going to go in down to the underneath route, right? It wasn't that way. I saw that guy chasing him. Gerard saw him chasing him. I waited, boom, he went through the corner route.
Meg. That's what they call a Meg, where they lock the guy on him. It's crazy. Did you ever consider changing positions when you left college, or did people ask you to change positions because you're a ridiculous athlete?
Not when I left college, but when I came to BC, there were 4 upperclassmen ahead of me.
Yeah.
Gerard was my roommate. He's already seeing playing time as a receiver on run situations, special teams. He's on the field. I'm not really on the field. Yeah. My first plays at BC were punt return. I would opening day against A&M. I'm back there fielding punts.
You You like that?
But it was like I was very close to going and saying, "Hey, move me to receiver," because I thought I was a better athlete than some of the guys that were on the field. I'm like, I know I can be on the field. I'm not on the field now, and I was a step away from asking at BC to move to because they were upper. Now none of the guys actually Matt Ryan's uncle John Lockery was the original starting quarterback. He tore a tendon in his thumb. And then the other two guys got a chance to play, didn't play well. I finally got in a game at Penn State and lit it up and was off and running.
Ain't nobody ever want to put Flute in, but when you put Flute in, you're always going to win. That's got to be crazy for you, a guy that comes from the most talented team probably in college football history at that time, to then going to a team.
Well, dude, we had Larry and we had Anquan.
Yeah.
Right? So we had two of the best to ever do it. Larry certainly, and Kurt was there, who eventually resurrected his career. We had some good players. That year we had, like, even my rookie year, I played pretty well, and we were like, okay. And then I hurt my AC the last game of the year against San Francisco. AC joint
In the throwing
shoulder.
shoulder?
And it was like mild, and Alex Guerrero took care of me. But it was like grade 2s. But I think it was the second to last game. So, but I was playing well, whatever. And then, then the offseason, then Denny gets fired. New coaching staff comes in. And that's where, for me personally, went all downhill. So, like, to get drafted there was one thing, but, like, showed a lot of promise. And then that second year, I was coming off the injury, so I didn't really have a good offseason. And then I was OTAs. I was finally healthy and stuff. But it just was, like, from the get-go, just this, dude. And, like, you've been around coaches. Like, I was screwed from day one.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like, and again, I didn't help myself at times, but, like, there was nothing I could do right.
That's tough when you're
Dude, it was
a first-round draft
ruined
pick
me,
quarterback that the coaching staff gets fired, who probably went on the table for you, and then all of a sudden they're bringing in someone else. And it's almost like they're like, we got to go somewhere else, because it buys that coaching staff more time.
Well, and we had Kurt Warner, who'd already won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, like,
Two glove Kurt Warner at the time.
two gloves. Dude, at one point I went to two gloves, dude, because this dude, I was pissed. Like, so I was there 4 years. So, like, year 3, so year 2, we split time the first 6 games. I broke my collarbone, out for the year. Year 3, we had a duel. He beat me out, and then that's the year we went to the Super Bowl. But that was also the year where I'm like, so he was two gloves always. And I'm like, dude, you're screwing me, because he would use brand new balls. And those brand new balls, I couldn't throw a brand new ball.
No.
And, like, I have big hands, but I don't have super big hands. I'm like, dude, you're going to make me go to gloves, dude, because I couldn't, like, he did not give a shit. Yeah. And I tried to get him, like, hey, can we get some of these old balls in there and just like this, so in case I have to go in. And he was like, yeah, whatever, but most of them were. So I went to two gloves a couple times. I felt like an idiot. I actually threw the ball all right in it, but I was like, what? Like, come on, dude. I already look bad enough in my uniform. You got to make me wear these nasty ass Nikes?